Hello everyone, it's Megan Lee. To those watching my videos for the first time, welcome to Beauty and the Beasts. Here I blend eerie stories with beauty routines, be it skincare, makeup, or anything else I'm in the mood for. If you're looking forward to a night that's both spine-tingling and soothing, then you've come to the perfect spot for a spooky beauty care, skincare session. Today, I'm going to do my makeup, by the way, so let's get right into it. Today's story comes from the Philippines. Have you ever seen a building or a place and wondered if it might have a spooky past, especially if it's an old building, right? I heard that there is this belief or legend among Southeast Asians. They say when there's a big construction project, there's likely a human sacrifice. I suppose it's because it is true to some degree. We hear a lot of stories from the past where workers got buried or trapped in the building's foundation, especially if it's a huge project. So today we're going to talk about a place in the Philippines that has become an infamous ghost spot with a sad history. The Manila Film Center is really famous for its ghost stories, mostly about workers who died while it was being built. There was a lot of requests from my viewers to cover this place, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do tonight. And as I started to do some digging, I found out that the construction of this place started as a major national project. But when you look into what happened to the people who worked on it, it's not even surprising that this place is haunted. There are tales of blood on the walls, strange noises, and even ghost sightings. So let's talk about how all this started and why this building makes some people roll their eyes. The building itself is pretty controversial. It's seen as a symbol of how the rich was corrupt and how little they cared about ordinary people. It was built during the Ferdinand Marcos time, known for being one of the Philippines' most corrupt governments. And guess what? His son, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., is the president now. But anyways, back to the story. So this building was finished when Marcos was in charge. He became president in 1965 after winning the election. Another interesting fact is that he did everything to win the people's heart. It's kind of funny. He said he was a big deal in World War II, claiming for decades that he led a band of anti-Japanese guerrillas. But the US Army rejected his claim right after the war, so he was basically making things up. He was an interesting man, for sure. Marcos took over when the Philippines economy was doing all right and growing. But then under him, it went downhill fast because of his corruption and overspending. This really hurt everyday people, and lots of them ended up in poverty. His wife, Imelda Marcos, didn't seem to take the idea, with great power comes great responsibility, seriously. I mean, she reportedly had 2,700 pairs of shoes, while people were starving and struggling. And Ferdinand himself was supposed to be president for 2 terms, ending in 1972, but he didn't step down. Instead, he took total control and declared martial law. Anyone who disagreed was shut down. So it was a really tough time for the Philippines. From his first term, Marcos had this idea for the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Sentrong Pangkultura ng Pilipinas, or the cultural center of the Philippines. He wanted to preserve and promote the country's culture. So he put Imelda in charge. This was when the people were struggling, so I don't think people welcomed the idea. The Cultural Center complex was opened in 1969, and just the theaters cost 63 million pesos, which is around $3.8 million. And that was just the start. The cost kept going up as they added more buildings. One of them, the Manila Film Center, cost $25 million to build. And this wasn't the only pricey project Marcos did. You could look that up. Imelda was in a rush to finish the film center. She wanted to show it off, sure, but she also had big plans. She wanted to host the Manila International Film Festival there on January 18th, 1982. But the catch was, they only started building in January 1981. So they had just 1 year to build a huge auditorium, a film facility, and even a 240-hectare artificial beach. To meet that crazy deadline, they needed a lot of workers. Around 7,000 were put on the job, working in shifts around the clock, every day of the week. People often said, what the First Lady wants, the First Lady gets. Okay. So the working hours and conditions were bad enough. But the real tragedy was still to come. On November 17th, 1981, just a few months before the festival was supposed to happen, there was a terrible accident. But reports about it are all over the place. Plus, when it happened, nobody talked about it for half a day. Maybe because the government controlled the media. At 3 a.m., part of the Manila Film Center collapsed. Workers were there for their shift, but something went wrong. Reports differ. Some say it was bad scaffolding, others say the roof fell in at 2 a.m. A lot of workers either died or got seriously hurt, but no help came until 9 hours later, as they were waiting for an official statement. The number of people who died is also unclear. The building's architect, Dr. Folian Hong, said in 2017 that 7 people died, but a report from United Press International on the day of the accident said 26 bodies were found. But in 2016, Rouge magazine reported up to 169 deaths. The government, of course, 15 hours later claimed only 3 people died. Despite the tragedy, the Manila International Film Festival went on in style. Imelda Marcos was all dressed up, and the event was grand. Fireworks, music, and a big dinner for thousands. It's like nobody remembered or cared about the accident just a few months before. This tragedy sparked some eerie rumors, or maybe the truth. One says the victims fell into quick-drying cement and were trapped inside. Their bodies were supposedly left there as construction continued over them. Maybe that's why the body counts were all different, because they just vanished into the building. Another version is more chilling. It claims that after the accident, Imelda Marcos didn't want to delay the project. She allegedly ordered workers to pour cement over the bodies and just kept building, like the tragedy never even happened. Rouge magazine spoke with the public relations officer for the experimental cinema of the Philippines and Manila International Film Festival at the time of the incident. She was actually present when it happened. She revealed seeing stretchers, carrying bodies, and workers digging up a man who was half buried in cement. They kept singing Christmas songs to stay conscious, indicating that he was likely dying. Mila Loren, the marketing head of the festival, shared even more chilling details. When workers fell into the quick-drying cement, parts of their bodies were left exposed. In a gruesome decision, someone chose to cut off these exposed parts, then cover the rest with cement again. So, given such a horrific event, it's no surprise that the Manila Film Center is considered one of the most haunted places in the Philippines. People believe the spirits of those workers linger there, in the place that became their tomb. What they're looking for, whether it's revenge, justice, or something unresolved, is anyone's guess. So strange things kept happening around and inside the Manila Film Center. A cleansing ritual was held for the Manila Film Center. However, it apparently didn't work. When the festival started on January 18, 1982, strange things began to happen. Staff workers at the event reported a strange, foul smell coming from behind the stage. Despite attempts to find its source, it remained a mystery. And the odd occurrences didn't stop there. Visitors to the building continued to have strange experiences. This one particularly eerie tale involves a passerby near the film center. A man approached him and handed him a card with a phone number and asked him to call his family. He wanted the passerby to tell them that he was okay and would be leaving soon. He thought it was strange because he could do that himself, but why ask him to do it for him, right? But the passerby, he used a nearby payphone to call the number. A woman answered, and he relayed the message. After a pause, the woman responded in a quiet, grave tone. "My husband died a long time ago. He was entombed in the Film Center building." This chilling encounter is just one of the many stories that add to the haunted reputation of the Manila Film Center, suggesting the spirits of those who died there may still be trying to reach out. And there is another story. Betty Benitez, the wife of a minister who supervised the construction, died in a car crash a few months after the building's tragic event. She was traveling with someone at night, and while the other person survived the crash, Betty did not. It is said that they swerved to avoid a group of people in black appearing suddenly on the road. This led to speculation that spirits sought revenge on Betty for her alleged role in ordering cement to be poured over the bodies of trapped workers. As rumors spread and the Manila Film Center's reputation suffered, Imelda Marcos felt compelled to do something about this building. She again hired a medium for a cleansing ritual. So during the cleansing, the medium walked around the building, inside and out, and she sensed the presence of spirits. During a seance, the medium, in a trance-like state, said, "There are now 168 here. Betty is with us." Visitors to the Manila Film Center have reported seeing blood dripping from walls and hands reaching out from door gaps. The film office room is notorious for malfunctioning equipment, despite repeated checks. There are also reports of shadowy figures that disappeared when looked at directly. Once, a person visited the building to watch a movie for a historical research project. While in the auditorium, he heard faint laughing sounds, even though the audience were sparsely seated. Upon leaving, he reported seeing a man in tattered clothes, moving in a strange, unsettling way. Ghost sightings are not rare in this building and its vicinity. Security guards assigned to the center often quit within weeks because of the eerie experiences they encounter, especially during night patrols. The walls and floors of the Manila Film Center silently bear witness to its tragic history. The lives lost during its construction a result of the corrupt government's extravagant desires, seem to have left a permanent imprint. Despite plans to renovate and make the building more appealing, the spirits of those trapped in the concrete seem to remain. The Manila Film Center continues to be a chilling reminder of its dark past. And that is the end of today's story. Hope it was informative. I will be back with more interesting stories, so take good care of yourself and sweet dreams.